people. Please tell me you can still hear me because this mic needs to get out the way. And I hope this works, people. I hope this works in the sense of I tried before I came online to see, okay, cool. If I lift this up, are you gonna see it properly? Which you are. Hoping you do. And in true DG fashion, it's not quite that. What can we do? We have to do it like that, innit? So as you can see, tactical review time, people. Now, I've tried to do it I've tried to do it a bit differently where I've had everyone in their own half. Now you can see the two fullbacks. I mean, you can see the two. I've done their two strikers like that. It's a bit of a wavy thing, and I can't find the other blue things. But as you lot could see, people, we played with a 4-2-3-1. You know, we had our two midfield pivots in here with Xhaka and Ceballos. And to be fair to you, I think they deserve a lot of praise because I think Ceballos very early on, you know, when our players were making those runs, you know, Ceballos was trying to hit them. You know, was trying to find people into space. I also feel as well, David Luiz, you could see him telling Bellerin, I'm not giving it to you there in the first half. Get forward. And he was getting it, as was Holding as well. Obviously, one was on the left, one was on the right. It doesn't really matter. So we're playing football. You know, Smith Rowe at times, you know, he was quite anonymous, but he is getting out wide and doing little 1-2s there and little 1-2s there. But it weren't good enough. Fundamentally, we lost this game. I say we lost. We dropped 2 points because we couldn't break down a flat unit. You know, we could not break down. And Roy Hodgson, he's been in the game more years than I've been alive. Flat 2 banks of 4. If any of you don't understand what I mean about 2 banks of 4, people, that's it, literally. You know, you're seeing 8 players, 2 banks of 4. It's basics, people. 2 banks of 4. I'm trying to exaggerate them and make them very narrow. Obviously, you had Zaha and Benteke back. And once again, we can't break down low blocks when we, you know, Lacazette's isolated, Aubameyang's involved in patches. Our players have 1,000 times in possession, but we're not doing anything with it. You know, David Luiz takes too long on the ball, but I can't blame him when I don't see any movement. There's no real consistent movement. Laka is dropping deep. Aubameyang is out there. You're laughing if you're Crystal Palace. Bellerin makes the run, but when he does get in behind, his crosses are either over hit or under hit, and he's just ineffective within that regard. So we kind of shot ourselves in the foot. You kind of shot yourselves in the foot, people. Let me just block an idiot. A man said, you're the reason we voted for Brexit, you clown. Well, considering that people are losing their jobs, you know, we're having problems with farming, and we're actually having problems with many different industries, and you probably will lose your job because of that. Was it smart? You know, shout out to you for being a virgin, man, because you might have voted for that. I guarantee your mother likes the multicultural. You know, she likes her jerk chicken and her teriyakis and things like that. But moving forward away from racist clowns and things, as I was saying, people, we struggled to break them down. I was a bit unimpressed with Crystal Palace to a degree because I would have thought, you know, again, exaggerated, but I would have thought, you know, you've got Zaha, you've got Benteke, you've got Eze. I would have thought you would have seen Zaha and Eze link up better here. You would have seen one drift out wide and things. And you did see elements of that. You know, they did counter-attack us well. But I think Eze, when he was presented with chances to really run at Hector Bellerin and present him with a problem, he elected to go for these inside passes. And I think apart from the occasional time Eze got forward, you know, a couple of times Zaha broke and Zaha was fouled in and around our area, we did all right. I feel Benteke actually should have done better with the half chances he had. Obviously, 38th minute and 41st minute, between 2 headers from Tompkins and Benteke, Leno and the crossbar saved us, people. So yeah, I think we struggle. I think where we really lost this is we struggle to just break down this unit. It's that simple. There really isn't anything much more to say. Obviously, our passing wasn't crisp. Obviously, we went back into old habits. Obviously, we're playing 5-yard passes, and a couple of players that can play difficult passes either don't want to do it or need 1,000 years. Of course, there was a lack of movement. You know, themes we've spoken about consistently this season have been prevalent, so I don't want to bore you with that, but fundamentally we lost this game. I keep saying lost because it feels like that, because we couldn't break down this unit. And like I said, I think Palace didn't even play that well by their own standards. I think Zaha and Eze, they could have cut us up. I don't really feel, and maybe Zaha is that deep. Zaha wants to play for Arsenal Football Club. Apologies, people. Where's that gone? Apologies, people. I don't know where the hell that has gone, people. So we're gonna have to improvise. Leno's gonna the black guy's gonna have to come out and go. The black keeper's gonna have to come out and go, and we're gonna have to now go with Eze or someone out here. He's been drafted in, people. can't break down their unit. And that's the thing with Arsenal, you know. That's the problem with Arsenal. Teams know that if you know, two banks of four, you keep your shape, whether you're playing a 4-4-2 and go two banks of four, or you're going with a back five, you know, you be rigid. You know, Arsenal will huff and puff, you know, they will, you know, you hold your positions. They if you give Arsenal the chance to have possession, they will do it, you know, but they'll confuse complex possession with dominating the game. You know, we'll play passes between our defenders. It will go to Bellerin, and then it will go back to the centre halves, and then the midfielders will play 5-yard passes, and everyone will get a touch. It will go forward and then go back. You know, Mr. Bellerin, when getting forward, was going backwards all the time, people. He was going backwards. Sorry, I don't know if I'm holding this up enough. Technology will be better. We can't break down teams. This is where I need my eights to say, do you know what? I'm forcing it. I always want to play these difficult passes in behind, you know, because it was no coincidence when we did have half chances. Primarily, they're coming from wide areas naturally. If you try and go through the middle, you're running into bodies. That's what they want to do, and then hit us on the counter attack. We couldn't break them down. I don't think, you know, we really did what we could from wide areas. Of course, if Tierney was there, we could have got something going a bit more. But, you know, if we really want to be a club that wants to get top 4 and top 6 and stuff, yes, if you're missing Tierney, historically Aubameyang in goal scoring, if you're missing key players, you will see a drop off, but you have to be able to still play to a basic level. So for me, the fact that Tierney wasn't there, Martinelli weren't there, they could have given us, you know, Martinelli would have forced the issue. You know, one thing about Martinelli, you know, everyone looked like they're resigned to things. You know, when we're talking about this player, that player, they all need service. He plays for them. This player, that player, they all need service. That's true. But Martinelli needs service as well. But at least he'll force the issue. He'll try a little dribble and bang it. He'll try and get in behind. And to be fair, we didn't. For me as well, we didn't test Guita enough. You know, he's a shaky keeper. Test him. He's now walked away with a clean sheet. I can only remember a handful of chances. You know, Aubameyang shot where Guita spilled it. You know, Maitland-Niles a tame effort. Saka a tame effort. Apart from that, it's a problem. You know, we played sloppy passes. We didn't test the keeper. We engineered our own demise. As much as I feel their game plan was all right, and I'll give them credit because you did see a good partnership with Mitchell on this side, and obviously Eze. They were all breaking, and there was obviously periods. Let's be fair to Crystal Palace where, you know, 20 minutes on, we were in our own half. You know, we were in our own half, and they were looking to exploit that very issue, people. 2 banks of 4. Hey, we're having a mess here. Somebody's missing. What's going on? So we've had to draft somebody, and somebody's absolutely missing. We're missing a player. So you know what? You're gonna have to. Have I got another? Apologies, people. But this blue guy's on our team. I think I've dropped another one. So yeah, this is our problem, people. And I did think, you know, Mitchell, Eze, Zaha. At times there were periods where they were getting in behind. They were linking up play here and here. And obviously the third man runs, and they were putting it little triangles together. But they weren't little triangles if I didn't show you that. But they weren't getting anywhere. They really weren't getting anywhere. In the second half, we did have a couple half chances. You know, Lacazette fired wide, but it weren't enough, really and truly. Players have got to want to be the protagonists. And when we're missing our main protagonists, the Martinellis, the Tierneys, Saka's a young man and he's not quite on it, we're going to struggle, people, fundamentally, people. Let me share my notes with you one more time, just so if any points going over your head, we can circle back, because I know I spoke about a lot there. Like I said, in both halves, I think we gave the ball away cheaply. Xhaka played well, but I think he highlights that as well. Bellerin backwards and giving it away. Maitland-Niles probably the poster boy for giving the balls away in that game. You know, with all due respect to Crystal Palace, I think they were very much a one-trick pony. They were just trying to hit balls into the channels for Bellerin and to a degree Maitland-Niles, and it weren't really happening, and we done well in that regards. As I just said, 4-4-2, 2 banks of 4. Roy Hodgson back to basics. You saw that. I think we lacked ideas. Clearly, we weren't able to break any lines. Second half, I feel Bellerin was making poor runs and he was out of position a bit too much. Saka as well when he went left wing back. As we already know, backwards passes, 5-yard passes, and it's concerning for me that the last 180 minutes we've played, we've not scored. I know if you look at extra time against Newcastle, we can sit here and say, yeah, there was a goal, but for me, that don't beat it. Ending thoughts, once again, we just simply couldn't break them down. We just didn't have enough shots or quality efforts. We played sloppy passes. I don't confuse possession and corners with actually hurting the opposition, because for me, that's huffing and puffing, or what I mean when I say huffing and puffing. And it's what any team knows, people, when they play us in that, you know, you can let Arsenal have possession. They'll get a bit of complacency. There might be a couple of chances they might score, but if you ride your luck and do your chance and do what you need to do, you have half a chance, in which Palace did. Palace should have come out in the second half thinking they could won this, and I think maybe that's where Roy Hodgson shows his experience, because if you come out and try and go for the win, if both teams to a degree do, you end up getting none. So it is what it is. There is no positives for me, but we didn't lose. I've got to mention it. We didn't lose. Again, that's irrelevant to me, people, but we didn't lose. It was funny seeing Arteta versus Townsend. I'm not gonna lie to you lot. I was happy to see Partey back, and fundamentally we kept a clean sheet. At least that's good for Leno, because last season and whatnot, how many times as an Arsenal fan have you seen? We might have conceded 3-4 goals. I'm exaggerating a bit, but 3-4 goals, and Leno actually is man of the match, or we've actually said Leno gets a 9 out of 10 or whatever. So at least he's got a bit of a clean sheet. Looking at statistics, people, not to find positives where they're not, but we've now kept 4 consecutive clean sheets in all competitions for the first time since October 2016, and in the league we're up there. Again, if Xhaka is arguably people's man of the matches, with all due respect to Xhaka, you're in problems. And if Rob Holding is creating more chances and having more shots, probably those headers, your attacking players aren't doing anything. Pardon me. And Holding was probably our most attacking threat. So that tells you everything. Let's shout out to Lacazette, but courtesy of the Twitter account, Obrino, make sure you follow me. I think he works for Opta. He does quite a good job in that regard. Lacazette has failed to score an assist for the first time since we lost 2-1 at Everton. He was due not to score a goal again, and it is what it is. Shout out to Lacazette. You would still start for me on Monday, because you've had one bad game out of all the recent ones. I don't think I'd be going with Eddie. Aubameyang, I don't think I'm willing, unless the only reason I would entertain either Lacazette or Aubameyang missing out is if Martinelli's fit, because that man needs to play. We need that. Even in games like that, when he came back and he was playing Man City, he was G'ing man up before the game. So imagine if we're in a game against Crystal Palace, with all due respect, where we need to score. I know what sort of mentality our young Brazilian is on. Palace had 9 shots in the first half. Arguably, they had better opportunities than us. Really, our best chance for me was probably a Aubameyang where he's forced to save. And what was that really? They had real clear-cut chances. The most shots Arsenal have faced in the first half of Premier League game this season. So yeah, man, there's something we didn't start the game the best of ways. First 10, we looked all right. From minute 20, Palace began to wake up. I think Palace had their best spell the last 15 minutes of the game, in particular the 41st and 38th minute. Maitland-Niles was poor. He misplaced 6 of his 7 passes in the opening 20 minutes, people. And I think he had 65% pass completion, which... you can't play centre midfield if you're going to do that. Yeah, he was rusty, but you can't play centre midfield if you're going to do that. You need to accept it's a fullback thing. And for me with Maitland, I'm still a fan of Maitland. I still think he can have something to say here, but equally, I'm open to selling, man, if we're going to just not use him. That's 20 million. Wolves were begging for him. And arguably, you could say that he's gone up a bit more now because... obviously, he's been an England international. Arsenal had more shots, 3 in the first 10 minutes of the second half than they managed in the whole of the first half. So again, not starting the way in the best of form. We did, like I said, I meant to say, I think we came out in the second half a bit stronger. I said it in my review last night. We came out a bit stronger, but ultimately it means nothing. And for me, that's just back to what we used to do under Emery. With all due respect to Emery, I'm not dissing him. It's that, we're waiting on second halves to turn games around, and it's dangerous for me because I don't want to go a goal. It didn't happen, but I don't want to go a goal down or whatever. On another day, we're 2-0 down at halftime. I don't want to do ifs and buts, but we're 2-0 down. And then we're having to react in the second half. And then you'd probably see that. But we need to be proactive. We need to smell blood. I think there was an element of complacency because they sat back, because they clearly played for a draw. We had a bunch of corners and possession, but we didn't do anything with it, people. One positive, Arsenal have kept their first home clean sheet in the Premier League since July, people. Mad. Crystal Palace have recorded their first one on the road. So both teams can't keep clean sheets, and probably the best teams to play in that regards, people. They've got an away clean sheet. We've got one at home. It's also Leno's first one at the Emirates in the Premier League since March 2020, people. Mad thing, innit? 38 Premier League games in charge for Mikel Arteta. Now he's on 57 points. The only 38 game season where Arsenal have earned fewer was in 2019-20. Make of that what you will. Pepe, again, I think people are drawing out Pepe and making him the scapegoat because the game, we weren't doing enough long before he came on, but he was ineffective. you know, and again, statistically, and again, he hasn't been playing consistently. He's been subbed and whatnot, but he hasn't created a single chance for teammates in the Premier League from open play this season, which is disgraceful. Once again, Kieran Tierney, and he should have 10 assists minimum to match that. Again, shout out to Bellerin, he's done all right there. Ceballos, to be fair, Lacazette, Aubameyang, Saka. The only one I really expected to see was this man, Bukayo Saka, Smith Rowe of recent, I guess. Obviously Tierney as well. But again, Pepe, you know, fullbacks. And I know they play more than you. So naturally, and the way Arteta demands, they're going to see a lot of it. But come on now, man. Come on now. Fix up now. It's not good enough. He's played 479 minutes and he's managed to fire 12 shots in that time as well. To be fair, nobody shoots, man. The last 5 players to have had 6 shots in a league game at the Emirates, people. Look at the list now. Shout out to Mane. Shout out to John McGinn. But would you, you know, and also Jimenez isn't bad and hopefully he gets over his problem. But would you say, bro, these two have come here and had whole heap of shots, 6+ shots. So what are we doing wrong, people? Come on now. You know, Maitland-Niles, as I said, had the lowest pass completion rate of anyone in the team, and his accuracy was at 65%, firmly deserved to come off. Arsenal found a teammate with just 9 of their 69 corners into the box this season. And I said it earlier, we don't have someone that could take a set piece at this club. Nelson is poor from corners. Saka, from what I've seen in the last few games, has been atrocious there as well. Pepe is poor there. I don't want to speak about Willian, but it is what it is. There's successful corners into the box. He's taken the most, so naturally he's going to have that. Listen, I'm not going to read that. You can all see, but it's poor from everybody, really and truly. Arsenal, you know, to be fair, we had about 2-3 shots from outside the area yesterday, but we have fired in the fewest shots on target from outside the box this season. So we are an easy team to read. We try to work it into the box. We probably try to be a bit too perfect. Arsenal have also fired in the most shots off target from outside the box this season, like you saw numerous times yesterday. So make of that what you will. It is what it is, firmly in that regards, people. What more can they say? It's a frustrating period nonetheless, but we have to move, people. So yeah, man, we have to move.